This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast. It's Wednesday, October the 25th. A little bit ahead of Halloween. Yesterday we were talking about music. Today, favorite Halloween-ish
movies.
Scary movies. The list came out. We'll tackle the top movies, the top antagonists, and the top family-friendly movies. And then your thoughts, because listeners had a lot of thoughts on that.
Oh, did they ever?
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast, as always, brought to you by our friends at Simple Desk in Trenton.
Simple Desk in Trenton is your ultimate destination to streamline, market, and strengthen your business's brand. Jenny, the visionary behind Simple Desk, took her commitment to business support a step further by creating Brazen, an event for women who dare. After the event's sellout in 2023, get ready for an even bigger and bolder Brazen 2024. The full-day experiential event is packed with networking, vendor booths, exciting giveaways, delicious food, and a speaker's panel of incredible female entrepreneurs sharing their inspiring stories. Don't miss out on Brazen 2024. Mark your calendars for May 31st. Tickets go on sale November 1st. For all the details, visit simpledesk.ca/brazen and be sure to follow Brazen on Instagram at BrazenEvents1.
Do you have an absolute go-to favorite Halloween movie? Everybody has a favorite Christmas
Halloween movie?
But Halloween?
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, yeah.
I do like,
here.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll watch the Rocky, or I'll watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show on or around Halloween.
Yeah, that's great.
It's go-to, but it's not scary, right?
Exactly.
So it's not...
Dynamite. It's a great movie.
Some people like to get really creepy and weird around Halloween, which the Rocky Horror Picture Show is, but not, I would say, the fear element attached to it. What about you?
When I was in university, I dressed up as Frankenfurter once for a Halloween party.
Okay, that's not a movie, though. I'm asking you. Yeah, thank you. What movie, Mark?
Picture
is there
one.
A go-to movie you watch?
Walk around in that memory all day. Let me see. Not really. I don't get tied up, but I don't know that it happens to me at Christmas either, although I have my favorite Christmas movie. But then the entire holiday season would go through and I'd go, oh, I didn't watch The Grinch. So Psycho, for me, and you know what? Because I'm so old, my favorite scary movies are the old black and white monster movies.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's as it should be.
Frankenstein from 1931 is like...
What's the vampire one?
The Dracula ones.
Yeah. What's the big one? The really famous one? Nah. It starts with an N.
Nada. Yeah, I know the one you mean.
Yeah. That's creepy. Yeah. That's a creepy one.
Like the back when in the golden age of monster movies, the werewolf, the creature from the Black Lagoon. I grew up on those movies on Saturday afternoons in Windsor.
Well, and I will say as a family, we do watch Who Be Halloween. We've already watched it once, and I expect we'll watch it again this weekend. That's become our go-to. That's one of our go-tos as well.
Yeah. So, but I like horror movies. I don't mind. I don't like to see them in theaters. I'm a little chicken to see them in a theater.
Well, and when I think of a scary movie or quote unquote horror film, well, I guess horror takes on a different genre. It's not the gore. As you said, like the black and white, I can appreciate that. Psycho, for instance. Yeah. Or Rear View, what is it?
Rear Window.
Rear Window by Hitchcock.
Right.
The thing that makes it so scary and enjoyable is because you don't see everything. You don't, it's not in your face. Same with Halloween. The original Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis. I love that. And Nathan loves it now too. He's found it. We don't watch the Rob Zombie one. Yeah. Because the difference between, there's no blood in Halloween. It's not about the gore and the in your face.
Right.
It's what you don't see. It's that it's your own mind creating what could be happening that I really enjoy. That's what I like about scary movies.
This came out of the top 7 iconic horror films. And so much like the top 500 pop songs yesterday, let's argue about this one for a while.
And you can.
Because in at number 7 is the movie I would have put number 1 and had been number 1 forever, and that's The Exorcist.
Exactly. Every study that's been done or poll, Exorcist is always number 1. And it's number 7 on this one. It's the lowest one.
I mean, people were fainting and throwing up in theaters 50 years ago when this came out. Now you watch it now, it's like, yeah, okay, it's kind of scary. Maybe we're just desensitized to, what is considered scary or gory or great filmmaking or whatever. But for its time, Holy smokes. Like, people were not ready when that movie came out.
That movie, I think, is still...
Oh, it holds up.
Oh, my God.
But can you imagine?
Yes, exactly.
In at number 6, Night of the Living Dead. That's more
I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
Campy, black and white.
Okay, before you continue, are not a lot of these movies campy?
True. Well, number 1 is super campy.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Number 5, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Iconic. Number 4 is Halloween. The
Love
original.
Halloween. Yep.
Yeah. An American Werewolf in London. Apparently is still holding up as an iconic film.
At number 3.
Yeah. Not sure I would have had that there.
Especially when we started to see some of the other titles people were throwing at us.
So
Again,
good.
it comes back to the billboard. It's like, oh, why is this on there and that's not? And we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah.
Number 2 is Carrie. Stephen King's Carrie, Brian De Palma.
There's
which was so well done.
Iconic scenes in that movie.
So well done. And that was our Galaxy of Games this morning, Name the Movie quote. And it was Carrie talking with her mother when her mother wants her to change her mind and not go.
Yes.
I'll meet him at the door. I'll tell him you're sick.
It wasn't the prom scene.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what?
Because that would have just been all screaming.
Well, that's the thing. I went for that. I thought, what were the lines that led up to that? There weren't any.
No.
It was brilliant filmmaking.
It's just the music
and
her.
No dialogue.
Exactly.
It's just you're watching this in horror.
Yeah.
What's going on.
Seeing what's going to happen and watching it unfold and the chaos that ensues.
Do you know the story behind the story? I've just read it because I just read a book, Stephen King's On Writing. He wrote a very famous book on how to be a writer and how to write. Well,
you had shared that the book hadn't been picked up, but no, about that particular movie and
about
is
that
there something?
Story.
No, I don't.
How he wrote Carrie because at this point he was writing articles on not being, so he wanted to write a novel. He hadn't written a novel yet. So he wrote Carrie, shopped it around. Nobody wanted it. He threw it in the garbage. His wife, Tabitha, picked it out of the garbage and started reading and said, no, this is good. You need to keep going with this. This is good. Don't give up. And now he's Stephen King. So
I didn't realize Carrie was his first one.
Love of a good wife, right?
That's right. The wife always knows.
Support of a loving partner.
Listen to the women in your life, guys.
But he had read a survey that women are more, is it intuitive around when they're ovulating, when they're having their period. And as a result, we always say, oh, you're more emotional. No, they're more in tune. So we had this idea, well, what if a woman could spark fire, right? What if?
Which we can.
That's right, by the way. Don't F with them. So that's where the idea came. He had read an article that said, like, women's intuition or whatever.
We're more sensitive to things.
Yeah. So what if a woman could literally so that's what that whole story came, like a brilliant thought to take that one little thought.
The whole story is brilliant.
And became Carrie. So that's number 2.
So that's not surprising. It's held up and is considered one of the most iconic.
And number 1
Scary
is
movies.
Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Campy.
I think there's certainly that pop culture attachment to all of these films. And perhaps that's why they're listed on this list I put together. Iconic. But maybe that should be a better description. Iconic pop culture scary films.
Right.
Because you're right. We talked about it off air. Some of the films that we find scary, none are on there. And then the listeners started to pipe in. And it's like, yeah.
I know.
These should maybe be on there,
and you
too.
made the point, too, where there are not a lot of the current franchises like Insidious or The Conjuring.
It's more gore. Saw, even.
Saw.
I know it's... yes, I would say maybe the first one, because it was new, and it's the first one, and it did catch a lot of people. And I would say, yeah, but again, it's the gore. And if you take that away, there's a whole other group of really scary, like I'd even say scarier films.
Well, Saw was made on a shoestring budget. It was
much
so
like the
cheap.
Blair Witch Project.
Yes.
Talk about a scary film when that came out, and all it was handheld and people in the woods.
Paranormal Activity, when it came out,
yes.
People watched that, $10,000. That's how much it cost to make that movie. Made hundreds of millions.
Yes.
But
went
again,
to the Oscars, did it not?
Not on this list here.
Yep.
So... yeah, when you think horror films, those are the ones you go to, but they might not be the scariest ones. Because the listeners, it's something like Poltergeist.
More about it. There's a difference between horror and scary.
Okay. In what way to you?
Well, horror to me is the gore.
Okay.
Scary those jump scares, those moments where it's like, wasn't expecting that. Not necessarily because someone's having an appendage removed or there's blood everywhere, but just like, oh my gosh, there he is. What's he going to do? Like,
right. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what is that to you?
That's a horror
That's
film.
a horror movie.
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
That would be more scary.
That's more scary. Okay. So you wouldn't...
Much like, as you pointed, and I totally forgot, I can't believe I forgot about the movie that scares me the most. The Strangers.
The Strangers, yeah. Catherine watched that the other day.
There's blood in it. There is some violence in it, but the whole premise is what scares me more than anything about that movie.
Right.
The randomness, the...
Yeah, it could happen to anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I find it so scary. That to me is not a horror film. That's a scary movie.
A scary movie.
If you haven't seen it, watch it. You will never turn your lights on again at night.
That's right. In the middle of the night.
I still don't. It just scares me to no end.
Yeah.
As you said for Psycho, that to me is a scary movie, not necessarily a horror film.
Yeah. I guess I always thought of that as a horror movie. You're right, but it's a scary movie. And then I always had monster movies. So Frankenstein, Dracula, like to me, those are monster, Godzilla, monster movies.
The Thing.
The Thing.
We talked about that.
So
someone wrote in about that.
And I'm not scared, quote unquote. I am, but I know what it is because it's a monster movie. But The Strangers, when that could literally happen to you, or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I decided for the first time in my life in Texas, I was going to hitchhike.
I guess that could happen, but I'd like to believe it couldn't.
But it kind of did because it's kind of based on a true story.
Don't say that, though. See, people say that. I think that's an urban legend.
Really? You think that's an urban myth?
I do. They just say that to build the hype over it.
But thank you. Tomorrow morning we're going to spend a lot more time on the movies that people said from Poltergeist, which was great. Other good ones like that, and
some of the ones we just mentioned too.
Yeah. So good one on that. So then it moved on to who are the most iconic horror film antagonists.
So stars of these films. Okay.
So Jack Torrance was in at number 4. He of The Shining.
Oh,
Jack Nicholson, right?
How would you categorize? Where would you put that film?
See, I would have said that's a horror movie, but probably scary because it's mentally scary. The thing that's so good about it,
again, Stephen King.
Yeah, it's a lot like Misery, right? Like it starts out right. It's the story. And then you're hooked.
Yeah.
And now you're in. And much like the characters, and much like Jack Torrance, just like the author in Misery, you can't get out.
No.
And you're in.
And Misery is scary.
And then
it was on the other day.
And it builds. Yeah. And
even though you know what's coming, it's like, oh my gosh.
The hobbling scene, like Stephen King, you're not right. Like you are not right.
Okay.
It's like Gerald's Game. Not right.
Well, when you see, what's her name? What was her name? Misery. Not Misery, Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
Coming down the driveway and he's trying to crawl across it's just, and much like The Shining, like when they're in the maze and the kid's backtracking and trying to hide for it, just, oh my gosh.
Not good.
That's a good one. Okay, yes. All right.
Movie. He
was very good in that.
Ghostface from Scream.
Now,
is number 3.
From the first Scream or from the sequels? Because honestly, Ghostface in the first Scream is my favorite.
Is it? In what way did it differ? Did the movies just get worse, or?
Well, I think when Scream came out, because it was so different and unique, everything after just kind of pales.
It's the face again.
Exactly. You kind of come to know what to expect, right? But that first film, and I don't want to give anything away. I don't think I am. But the fact that that whole, there's 2 of them, idea too, was just, it was just a really, at the time, and it still is, I think it still holds true. It was just a brilliant movie. It was really well done. Yep. Yes. Good Nobody was expecting it.
Chucky, number 2. Chucky.
That was the first horror film, and I say horror because there's a lot of blood in that one and gore. Yep. First one I saw as a young person, and I saw it at home, like you said, not in the theater at home.
What's interesting, though, is that the movie was called Child's Play, and everything after that was Chucky.
Everybody just calls it Chucky, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Chucky movie.
Bride of Chucky.
Right, so they figured it out. There's not Child's Play 2, it's Chucky.
It's just Chucky. And now there's a show.
Yeah. Yes.
Chucky on, what is it? Is it Paramount? Have you watched it?
No.
We did watch one episode after. So this season takes place in Washington. Chucky goes to the White House. And it was the day we went to the White House. That night we watched it after being in Washington all day. It's interesting.
And number one, Freddy Krueger of Nightmare on Elm Street is the number one antagonist. So not Jason, even though Friday the 13th
or
is
Michael
the most
Myers.
Yeah.
Michael Myers isn't on there because when we, as a family, were looking at costumes, Nathan's on a big Halloween kick, so he wanted to be Michael Myers. Well, now he's Jason. And we thought, okay, we could do these iconic characters. Everybody would know us. We were going to do Jason, Michael Myers, Ghostface, and Freddy Krueger. That was going to be the four of us.
Okay. And
we kind of got sidelined. But I'm not, to this day, yeah. Like, how many of those will you see out trick-or-treating?
Yeah, you'll still see some.
Yeah.
For sure.
Maybe not the Jack Torrance, but the rest of them.
I see a Ghostface every year.
Exactly, at least a handful of them.
I probably only get 24 kids, but invariably one of them will have that.
No Freddy Kruegers? Have you ever had a Freddy Krueger come to your door?
I might have, now that I think about it. Wouldn't be, because I think it's one of those costumes, if you have it, you're doing it every year. Right?
Because you got to invest in it.
Well, yeah, and it's so good.
But yeah, that's just it. The props, all of them. Mm-hmm. It's a costume. Like, it really is. Comes with a mask, comes with a prop, comes with all the accessories to make it fun. Make it a fun costume.
Just don't shake their hands at Freddy Krueger.
No, not Freddy Krueger's, no.
Just all put the candy in the bag. Just step back.
Yeah. It's okay. We got it.
Then they had the top 7 iconic family-friendly Halloween movies. Which I thought, Ghostbusters would be number 1, right? Nope, 3rd.
Yeah, this list bugs me.
It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown is number 7.
Of course.
Halloween Town. Don't know that one.
Haven't seen that one.
Beetlejuice, number 5.
I love Beetlejuice. I really do. Yeah, that's a fun one.
Never seen it.
Have you never seen it?
I have never watched Beetlejuice.
Oh, my God. I have.
And I love Michael Keaton, and I love Gina Davis.
And Alec Baldwin, even. They're all, Winona Ryder, like the cast is incredible. Catherine O'Hara.
Never watched it.
Oh, we got to. That is one of my earliest memories of going to the theater. My dad took me because my sister was too young to see it.
Okay.
So he took me to see it because I wanted to see it.
Beetlejuice, number 5. Corpse Bride, number 4.
Again, Tim Burton.
Ghostbusters, number 3. Casper, Friendly Ghost,
that is
the
a cute movie,
number 2. And Coraline is number 1 from 2009. I had to look it up because I'd never seen it. My kids were too old
I've never
at that
seen
point.
it either.
And it said on there, listed as a family Halloween movie, though too scary for younger kids. So be careful. So
is it not animated?
Okay. Maybe it is. I'm not sure about that one. So I'm
going to have to look it up too because what I'm thinking may not be right.
I think it is.
Where is Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, not on there.
Not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But
it gets trotted out
that's a big one.
Yeah.
When the sequel came out last year, people were going crazy. And you always see the memes and people dressed up as the 3 witches from Hocus Pocus. It's not on there.
Is that considered a family movie? Is that deemed to be kind of funny? Yeah, okay.
Well, again, I'm not the person to ask, but it's definitely a family movie. Like, kids can watch that, no problem. Mm-hmm. But Hubie Halloween, that would be a newer one, of course.
Yeah.
But that's a big one in our house. I'm glad Charlie Brown's on there because that's
Haunted Mansion. You mentioned Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion, that's new, right?
Yeah. So
that could be why, but it's not bad. It's a little long. I remember as a kid the Boogeyman from Walt Disney. Did you ever watch that? It scared me.
I remember a title.
Yeah, I watched it again recently, and I'm like, oh my God, my kids would hate this.
Oh, no, yeah.
Not the same effect.
Yeah, you're not sleeping with us, kids.
But that's an interesting list. Like you said, Ghostbusters.
Number 3.
That should be 1 or 2 for sure.
So good. So thanks very much for getting your votes in on that. And speaking of voting, we with yesterday's podcast, for our Throwback Thursday tomorrow, we wanted to right the wrong of those songs that did not appear on Billboard Magazine's top 500 pop songs of all time. So as I mentioned, In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins is not on the list.
That's crazy.
And Team Charity, you dug deep and didn't find this classic.
Well, I was looking for a few. Meatloaf. There was no Meatloaf on the list.
Yeah.
And Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Hello.
Hello. Not one of the top 500 pop songs of all time.
You could have even said "Bad Out of Hell" or
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 out of bad. There was no Meatloaf, but yeah, "Paradise by the Dashboard Light," huge
pop culture touchstone, amazing,
and not in the top 500. But, and I'm sorry to keep picking on them, "London, Steal My Sunshine"
is.
Yeah. There's a handful of songs going through that list where it's really?
Well, I'm not the be-all and end-all. I am significantly older than you are.
You're a little older than I am.
And I've been in radio a long time.
A little bit longer, yes.
So even though they might be different genres and formats, there shouldn't be a song on that list that I am unaware of. Even if I didn't play it.
Yes,
and
true.
There were
if they are the greatest pop songs of all time,
and I do
they
this
should
for
all
a living.
be recognized. Recognizable.
There were some artists I'd never heard of and titles I don't know. And again, it doesn't matter the genre I'm talking about. Maybe I don't know that one.
And that's the other thing, too. You can maybe argue that, okay, maybe Phil Collins in the Air Tonight, a little rockier. Same with Meatloaf, maybe a little bit rockier. But again, when you look at this list, Van Halen's on it.
Sure.
Bon Jovi's on it.
Yeah.
And then you've got Mariah Carey's Christmas song.
Yeah, and then Carpenters are on it.
Yeah.
And they're super soft. So there's lots of different genre looks.
This quote-unquote pop, I think, just encompasses everything. So you can't make that argument either. But it's odd.
On our Facebook page and vote. So either In the Air Tonight or Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. Winning song tomorrow morning after the 8 o'clock news. With any luck at all, we will be down to 6 prize packages remaining on the 95.5 Hits FM Prize Survivor. We need to eliminate 5 before Monday morning, and the last prize standing will be the grand prize given to one of the qualifiers who has been removing prizes along the way. So good luck to all of our qualifiers.
Mark reminded me we couldn't give them all away on Friday.
Yeah, if we do that,
I was doing the math.
The point. Yeah.
I can't even blame the fact I didn't have my coffee because I'd had my coffee already this morning. I'm like, oh yeah, we still need 1 to remain. So yeah, 3 today, 3 tomorrow,
and then we'll have
2 on Friday.
Only remove 2 on Friday
with 1 remaining Monday. It's going to be a big day Monday.
That's right. It's going to be good.
It's going to be really good.
And we got big prizes we're going to hand out next week. Can't tell you about it. We got some concert tickets we're going to hand out all next week as well. So get out there, get your votes in there, and join us tomorrow morning with Mark and Charity Mornings here on 95.5 Hits FM.